Hello, what's up? It's your boy, and we're back with another video. Today we're gonna be a banger.
Video?
Yeah, video. I'm your host, Aiden Middleton, and I'm excited to be here with you guys, with my dad, Baby Ruth.
Baby Ruth?
Yeah, that's you, Baby Ruth.
Does anybody know? Is anybody old enough to know where that comes from? Do you know where that comes from, Aiden?
Goonies?
Yeah, you're right. Good job. 80s baby right here. All right, Aiden, what are we going to be talking about on today's episode?
So this question was sent in by one of my personal friends named Adam, and his question is, how do we as teenagers share our faith? Or in other words, start a conversation about God to a non-believer.
Nice. But now, it's that time for our Gen Z word of the episode. You know, Aiden, you're never too old to learn from someone else, so I'm ready to learn from you. All right, Aiden, today we got one that I have no clue even remotely what this is. And it is and I oop. And I oop.
And ayup is usually said with
Which is another one that I have no clue what that means.
It means when you, most of the time it means when you mess up. So if, let's say you drop your water bottle and you're like, and ayup.
Well, what does the mean? Like, what is
That's
that?
why it's just an annoying thing
It's
people
like a
do.
sound people make?
It's, it's really annoying.
Okay, so what's and I oop?
It means like, you messed up. So you're like, and ayup.
All right. Well, I'm not going to lie. This one probably made me feel more old than any of the words we've done so far. So thanks for dropping some facts on us. Let's answer today's question.
All right, Dad. So today's question is, how do we as teenagers share our faith?
Yeah, so to answer this question, I'm going to share with you guys a little acronym in just a second. But first, I do want to say this. A lot of times, followers of Christ feel this pressure, like they need to know every single answer in the Bible, every story in the Bible, and we tell ourselves over and over, if I don't know this, then I can't share with anyone else. And it's just not true. All you really need to know is that first, we follow Christ, and then secondly, we know our story, we know our testimony, and that's all that we really need to know. It's just the power of a transformed life. But here is the little acronym. You ready for it?
Yep.
All right. The acronym is SALT, S-A-L-T.
Well, that seems easy to remember. What does the S stand for?
So the S stands for start a conversation. This just means be friends with somebody. Build relationships with people. Talk about what you're interested in, whatever that is. If it's traveling, talk about that. If it's video games, talk about that. If it's sports, talk about that. Just whatever you like, whatever you're into, just be friendly and be interested. Other thing I would say is to be bold. Sometimes it takes a second to just start a new friendship or make a new conversation because it's a little awkward, right, at the very beginning. So a lot of times it's just starting a conversation. Another thing I would say is don't be weird. A lot of times people are just weird. Like, just be like a normal person and just ask people questions.
So just talk about anything. Start a conversation and see what they're interested in. So get to know them.
Yep.
All right, well, I can do that. What does the A stand for?
The A stands for ask a question. This is where we just ask what people believe about God, what people believe about church or Jesus. The other thing we can ask people is ask how they're doing. Like, be sensitive. If you have a friend who's maybe their parents are going through a divorce or a difficult season in their life, just ask them how they're actually doing. Ask a question. And a lot of times you can just say, hey, man, like, what do you think about God? Like, what are your thoughts on God? What are your thoughts on Jesus? And it's a very disarming thing to do, is just simply to ask a question and let people talk. And so I think it's a really great way to start.
Yeah. But what if it feels a little awkward to do that?
I mean, it might be awkward for just a second, but it won't be very long. People rarely get mad at somebody for caring too much about them or a situation. And asking a question many times is one of the most compassionate, loving things you can do, because I promise you, especially middle schoolers, high schoolers, they don't have a lot of friends asking, how are you doing? They don't have a lot of friends asking them questions about deeper things in life, about their spiritual lives and things like that. And so, as far as talking about Jesus is concerned, people like sharing their opinions and makes them feel validated. And so questions really help validate them, not like sarcastic questions, but genuine ones, people that will generally give genuine answers to genuine questions.
What does the L stand for?
Well, this is simultaneously probably the hardest one and the easiest one. It just means listen. So shut up. Don't interrupt them. Just let people talk. You can feel free to ask a follow-up question, but you'll be amazed at what comes out of someone's heart when you just let them talk. And if they say something that you think is crazy or completely wrong about Jesus, man, that's all good. Just nod, smile, let them be heard and listen to. You don't have to correct every little thing and every wrong thing that someone may say. Just let people talk and listen. And people will be a lot more open to what you have to say if they feel heard and listened to.
What does the last letter mean?
The last one, T, is tell the story. So especially in today's world, this is actually a really powerful thing because your story is your story, right? It's your experience. And so your testimony of your relationship with God is yours to tell. If I have an experience with God, that I was saved and then I had a moment with God and then my life is different now after I've been serving God, that's my story, and nobody can take that from me. Nobody can deny my experience in my life. So you don't have to even preach at people. I can literally just share how my life has been changed. And there's a verse in Revelation chapter 12, verse 11, and it says, they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. So it says all we need to overcome the enemy is the blood of Jesus and our story, our testimony.
What if somebody rejects you or makes fun of you or even laughs?
Yeah, unfortunately, this is just part of being a human. You're going to be rejected by certain people. And so I would just say, don't take it too personally. Don't be discouraged. If you get made fun of a little bit or people don't respond, that's okay. In Christianity, the highest ethic is love. Romans 13:8 says, let no debt remain outstanding except the continuing debt to love one another. And so even if somebody makes fun of me a little bit or they laugh at me or something like that, just love them back. Keep loving them. And that's all we really need to do, because when we do that, we plant a seed and then eventually that thing will, it'll grow. Our life is really about just knowing God and making him known. And so if people don't respond to that, it's all good. They're not rejecting me. Ultimately, they're rejecting God.
Are there any more tips you have for us?
Yeah, we have a little thing that we talk about in our ministry, the Every Nation World, called the 2-Minute Miracle. And this is just how you can tell your story of how God has changed your life in 2 minutes. So half of that would be before life in a relationship with Christ, how he changed you. And then the second half would be really what's happened afterwards. It just pack that into 2 minutes. It's pretty simple. The other thing I would say is go on a mission trip. Mission trips are not only life-changing for the people that are receiving the ministry, but also for the people that go and give the ministry to.
All right, last question.
All right.
Are there any resources out there that we can use to help us?
Yeah, we have a really helpful tool in our ministry that we use. It's called One-to-One, and you can find this in any app store. It's ONE and then the number 2, ONE, One-to-One. It's really just some basic foundational principles of Christianity. It gives you some scriptures, asks a few questions. It's really quick. You, as a teenager, can take someone through the One-to-One book or app, and it really helps you explain the gospel. Also, Pastor Rice Brooks in our movement developed something called the God Test, and it's great for the start a conversation portion of SALT, the S, and it really just asks people what they think about God. It doesn't preach them, it just asks questions, and we have paper versions of it, or again, you can go to your app store and download it for free.
Thanks, Dad. Super helpful. Remember, SALT, guys. You guys know how we do things. We keep it no cap on the Teenology Podcast. If you guys missed the other episodes, go back and check them out and tell your friends about our podcast and follow us on Instagram at Teenology Podcast and send in your questions. Don't forget, the Teenology Podcast is where teens make sense of the world they got to change.